My name's Michael Loftus. I'm from the loftusparty.com. Maybe you saw my comedy special on Fox Business and on Fox Nation. Across the country, you got my good friend over there. His name's Judd Dunning. You know him from Conservatively Unplugged, and he's got his brand new book coming out, 13 Reasons Why Not to Be a Liberal. It's longer than 13 pages. Judd, how you doing? Welcome to Bullet Points.
Michael Loftus in New York City in the other lockdown. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. We're like magnets. We're locking it on the East Coast, locking it on the West Coast. But I got to jump in. I hear there's an event going on in Los Angeles. I hear there's an event called Open LA and Open It Safely. What's the name of the event?
It's so funny. We were on the radio today. They're like, this is a very long web address. Open LA now and safely. You know, we figured that wouldn't get us in trouble. Like Open LA now and safely. It's also known as the LA Drive for Freedom.
I like it. So tell me a little bit about this event. You know a little something about Open LA now and safely. You know a little something about it. You got the inside scoop on this from as I understand it. How is this going to work? Is this going to be like a bunch of people just spitting everywhere? What's going to happen?
There's no spitting like we covered last week. That was the new crime. Like, give me your money. No, this is this event was we were up in Ventura. We saw we've been driving there on the weekends. We've been driving to Orange County, less restrictive areas. We saw that they were having a drive for freedom. So I came home. I looked in the websites and there was nothing in Los Angeles. And that event wasn't even on, it's like the third or fourth page of the search engines. So we said, great, well, what are they doing? And we found out that they were doing a safe distancing event. The windows are supposed to be open. Everybody in each car is supposed to be no more than 5 people from a single residence. You could have signs on the outside of your car, and your cars had to be 6 feet from each other, which obviously you don't want to run into each other, right? So that's kind of inherent, but your cars have to be socially distanced as well. Then you can't pass food back and forth from the cars themselves, and no restrooms. So people, if they're going to come to this event, they need to use the potty before they get in their car.
So hold on. So the windows have to be down?
The windows have to be up. Did I say down?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this seems very safe. This seems like a lot of people who are already quarantining together anyway. You're in your vehicles. The windows are up. You're being safe about it. Has there been any pushback? Are you getting any kind of flack?
Yeah, we actually had a quote. We called in. We went down to the police station a couple times, and just to frame it a little bit more before we go into it, it is this Saturday, May 2nd. We're going to stage around 9:30. And then we're meeting, then we have a Zoom call. People call in. We have a route down to City Hall around the mayoral home of Eric Garcetti, over to Mike Bond in the 11th district, and maybe a few more locations coming up. So people call in and they check in. We'll go into the details at the end. But the event is it's individual Americans showing up. It's a non-event, Michael, because if it's an organized event, so people have the right to come, check in the Zoom call and drive. So there's no set staging area. It's going to be great.
If you had to guess right now, how many cars do you think will show up? How many vehicles?
Well, you know, today somebody found out right after we launched the website. Someone found out and called AM 640 KFI. We've been getting a lot of emails. People wanted to donate. The great thing is the people wanted to donate, you know, we're like, thank you. I just told them to send money to the Loftus Party. No, I'm kidding. But we don't need any money, you know. I mean, pay for your own gas. That's it. So, you know, bring air freshener if your windows are going to be open. That, you know, spend your money there. But there, you know, I'd say, I don't know. We put it on Patch. We put it on Facebook. We put it on Nextdoor. And we're getting some calls from some big media outlets that want to talk about it, because here's what's surprising. I'm one of 12 million people in Los Angeles, 12 million. Nobody else was organizing anything. And we also went out immediately, and in Sacramento, the big protests, they're not even being covered. The San Diego protests got covered because somebody said COVID is a lie. There's no media. There's media censorship going on right now.
So how big were the events in Ventura and San Diego? Would you say they were big successful? Do you think that people are eager for something like this?
I definitely think that people are eager from it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm almost hesitant to say something because when we called the permit offices, I went down 3 times. There's like, oh, we don't know who to send you to. Then a guy got on the phone and says, hey, we can't even issue a permit for this because First Amendment activities are not essential under the stay-at-home order and therefore not allowed. I'm not going to give you a permit. This is not Ventura, dude, quote unquote. And I'm like, so it was pretty serious reaction.
I'm not a lawyer, dude. I'm not. I'm a comedian. I'm a writer. I'm a TV guy. But even with my tiny little pea brain, I don't think the mayor of LA or the governor of California can say there's no more constitution because you're supposed to stay home. I don't think we're not allowed to be prisoners in our own homes. It seems like this open LA now and safely event is going to be safe. It seems like there's going to be a bunch of people who want to take part. It seems like Californians have had enough. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I just want to tell you one last piece before we pivot on that. They also told us it was going to be the largest presence of beach management of police this weekend that you've ever seen. He said, hey, you want to start this in West LA? We're going to have our largest police force yet because, Garcetti and Newsom are saying do not open the beaches. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Restate the question, Michael. What was your other question?
My question is, why do you think that there's such a groundswell of support for this kind of thing in
Oh,
Southern California?
great. Okay, listen. The bottom line is this: 39% of Americans can't handle $1,000 crisis. I'm aware of that for a long time. I've been poor. I've been successful. This is the cycle of life. A lot of people are really suffering. And we're early in this. And they're talking about extending this for a couple more months until a vaccine. This talk of waiting for a vaccine is hogwash when you look at the science that's coming out. And the contrary science, people are seeing, like Erickson that just came out. I don't want to just say it's Erickson, it's Batar. I've got some other people to show you who are local LA public health officials that are saying that the mortality rates are super low, like the normal flu. Let's get back to work. And I think the normal populace is reading the news. Everybody's frustrated.
Yeah. Here's it's I know like in Virginia they're talking about 2 years. The governor of Virginia was like, it might be 2 years before everybody gets back open. And like you just said, most people can't handle a month. They can't handle a month. And the federal government, and I would say the Democrats, have failed the country when they were trying to bail out small businesses, when they were trying to help out the American people. They started shoveling money towards the big corporations. They started shoveling money towards like the Kennedy Center and other projects, and they didn't get it to the American people. Small businesses are being left high and dry. And
Right.
the last time I checked, it was life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If they can keep here's what drives me absolutely crazy. I'm in New York. You can go to the grocery store. Those are open. Somehow that's a magical, mystical place where diseases never go. And they got Burger Kings and Taco Bell. But oh, you can't go into 7-Eleven. Can't go into 7-Eleven. There's COVID everywhere. It's just willy-nilly. It makes no sense. We're responsible adults. We can handle it. We can handle it.
Yeah, and it's great. It's crazy. The machismo today. Garcetti said, "Real men wear masks." So what is it? Snitches get riches. He also said, "We're going to go hunt the 1% that is non-compliant," and he says it with a smile. This guy is loving the power. Politicians right now, man, they're scared. They're thinking about their great career. How much money are we going to burn so these guys can posture for their futures and over legislate with a police state? It's serious. It's a First Amendment violation for us as well, man. We were setting such a crazy precedent. I have some stats that I also want to talk about, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, what are your thoughts about our mayor, your mayor there in New York?
I think everyone has gone too far. Now, New York is its own thing. You've got miles and miles of subway, and you had Bill de Blasio going, it's not going to be a bad thing. Go to the subway. So I think we cannot have a one size fits all rule. Like, just because New York's getting hammered doesn't mean Tulsa shuts down. And it looks like statistically, this thing's been in LA for a lot longer. They think that a lot more people have had it for a long period of time. And here's the great side effect from opening up. The great side effect, if you treat Los Angeles more like Sweden, look at Sweden. They're going to be done in 2 weeks. They're going to have herd immunity in 2 weeks, and their death rate is comparable. It's not that bad. And then you don't have to wait for a vaccine. It's almost as if, and I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox here. It's almost like they want to stretch out the curve. Like they said, oh, we got to flatten the curve. We got to flatten the curve. We did, so that hospitals wouldn't be overwhelmed. But now it's like they're counting on this thing coming back in November. But if we get herd immunity now, we won't get bitten again in November. Let's take care of the people who are at risk. There's plenty of ventilators. There's plenty of medicines to take care of them. But we've already got 29 million people unemployed. What's that going to look like in 2 months? Crime is skyrocketing in LA or in New York right now.
Yeah, the liberal darling, right, for socialists or big government people, if you're Democratic or Republican, Sweden is kicking it, is doing great. They're the perfect model of what's going on. This is what we're avoiding. We're avoiding these kinds of effects. Suddenly, Sweden's irrelevant. Have you noticed? It's completely irrelevant. Like, oh well, if we had the Swedish economy, worse than certain. No, I can't do it. So that's that. I'm completely adherent with you. So listen, let me tell you what I think some of our baseline cases for the people that are watching our show that we've covered in the show of why open LA now. And the first thing is let's look at the national stats. Let me run you through 3 or 4 main points quickly. The first one is, look, we've got 43,000 cases in California, 1,809 deaths, and 1,000 in LA County, sadly. And for those families, our hearts go out. COVID-19 is at 155,000 worldwide, with 100,000 deaths, with 1,000,006 cases. And then here, if you look at the flu is 300 to 700,000 people get worldwide. And then we have 60,000 deaths in the US. We're at 60,000 deaths in the US right now. Guess what? The CDC just announced flu season technically ends in a couple days. So we're at 60,000 in the US and flu season technically ends. You brought up a great point from the National Center of Health Statistics Mortality Surveillance System. And this line is what happened when COVID came in. The flu disappeared. So the stats and the science is now abducting everything into the COVID numbers that are coming out more like, 4 or 5%. And this is the key in LA. This is my wake-up call for Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, and I have it here, this is Barbara Ferrer, who is the director of Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. The director of Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. She said preliminary results from the antibody test in Los Angeles County indicate that in the true number of COVID-19 infections is much higher than the number of confirmed cases there, which implies that the fatality rate is much lower than the official tally suggests. In contrast with the current crude case fatality rate, which is what we're talking about 4.5%, the study suggests that 0.1 to 0.2, they say 0.3 now, percent of people are infected by the virus will die, which would make COVID-19 only somewhat more deadly than the seasonal flu. And, Washington and the states know they're losing. So what is Fauci talking about? Oh, there may be a reemergence of the flu if we open too quickly in the future, rather than let's open now safely and allow our citizens to take responsibility for themselves. Come on.
When you flatten the curve, and you don't get herd immunity, you are guaranteeing a resurgence. You can bank on it. We're going to be right here again this fall. And the government will not be there to help you. And it's amazing to me, it's incredible to me that people are looking oh, what does the government want us to do? What does Mayor de Blasio want us to do? Well, Mayor de Blasio was the guy who said go to the park, ride the subway. What is Nancy Pelosi? She was saying go to Chinatown. What does the World Health Organization say? Oh, don't wear a mask. Oh, wear a mask. They change their what to do every day. We are a society of individuals. We are unlike any other society. Individuals, I'm in charge of my freedom, you're in charge of your freedom. We have to act responsibly. The government is not supposed to protect us from ourselves. The government is supposed to protect our rights. And one of our rights is being able to criticize whoever we want and go where we want. And go. Open it up. Open it up. We did it. We flattened the curve. We flattened the curve. They said millions would die. It didn't happen. You got to open it up, because if you lose your business that your family has worked for generations, do you think the government's going to give you the money to reopen it? Do you no, you'll just be a statistic. You'll just be homeless and starving to death.
And to me, what this event is about is that I know people, like, I think it's the exact stat is like, for the Small Business Administration, like 95% of entrepreneurial businesses fail, or it's like 90%, I think now. And the ones that succeed, they go on to be major corporations over generations. We're talking about destroying people, successful businesses. So many great businesses in Los Angeles are closing. And think about that. That's just the business owners who create the jobs. What are the employees doing? Because you're not getting by on $600. You're now in actual poverty. If you're living in West LA, you're in the Manhattan of California. This is a very expensive. Those people are going to suffer. They're going to be forgotten people, and it's going to rank up pretty quickly. So I just wanted to say there's two other elements that I think they're very, very interesting, Michael. There was a recent test that in China that said that 80% of transmission had been given in homes of the virus. Only 1% was in public transportation. The Department of Homeland Security came out and said that, and Shapiro covered this, Yahoo News covered this, that SARS-CoV-2 is quickly destroyed on surfaces by sunlight and does not live long in high temperatures and high humidity. There's more humidities in the home, etc. California is the sunshine state, my man. It's the sunshine state. We're sunshine people, right? We may be mostly Democratic, but this is bipartisan. Sunshine is a bipartisan issue. And it's extremely, and you know what? It's been hot here. We were turning on our heat for the last few weeks. Suddenly it's 75, 80 degrees in Los Angeles. Let people get back to nature. Stop shutting off our beaches, which is ridiculous. We can social distance at beaches on our own. That is draconian. That is Orwellian. What is this power trip, Michael Loftus? Help me out, buddy.
Power corrupts, and usually the biggest tyrants come out of I'm here to help everybody, and I'm gonna make sure it's fair. And in this power grab that you see from the left and from these mayors and from these governors, it's just madness with Governor Gretchen up there in Michigan, and Newsom in California, and Cuomo in New York. They don't want to talk about solutions. They really don't. When you start talking about hydrochloroquine, oh no, that's crazy, and they want us to stay inside. And they know from the Spanish flu pandemic in 1918, they had hospitals set up outside. Those hospitals did a lot better. It's like your grandma never lied to you, man. Sunlight, fresh air, get out. It's good for you. It is good for you. And I think California especially is poised to really succeed. It's because I was thinking about it, I was listening to you as you were talking, but people are in their cars. That's why traffic is so horrible. There is no public transportation. You're in your car, you're in your environment, and then you're in the sun. That's it.
Yeah. You know what's interesting too is it's good. I think we're starting to see the tension build up. It is for me. I literally put this website up as just a fluke. A few things happen in your life, our book, the show. God moves through us and we create. We're here for 70, 80, 90 years, hopefully, right? And then you just follow the inspiration. I think I'm not alone. I mean, the impetus of people coming behind us was extremely quickly. I think the thing that we have to remember when it comes to what's the next step that's going on is that if you told America right now we could go back to work, but we had to wear masks, we had to be distanced in our jobs, and we had to give up any kind of fiscal support, be the PPP, be it the other EDD, I bet people would sprint. And you know what? My proposal is let people that want to go back to work give up any kind of stimulus and get back to work. Allow people who want to work to work. I heard another great idea, which was phase out the young. Maybe it's 25 to 30 one week. Next week it's 30 to 40. Next 50 to 60. But the weeks stay sheltered. There's creative solutions to do this. It's not just wait for a vaccine. The other thing is, look, man, I got sick twice during this, like the flu, because I went to the hospital and they said there's 100 elements of the flu out this year. It could be any of them, right? I took Z-Pack. I was better in days, which is crazy. But the reason I don't want to go to the hospital, and a lot of people aren't going to the hospital, and why hospitals are suffering because they're empty and no one's getting anything done right now. Hospitals are actually suffering and failing. They're not overcrowded. Is with Fauci saying that he wants an immunity passport or considering tracking phones like in other countries for people that have achieved the antibodies. Nobody wants to be on the radar right now. I know I'm not being conspiratorial. A lot of people have seen how big government can shut down our lives and don't want anything to do with it.
Big government has shut down our lives. That's just, and they did it very, very easily. Here's the problem with America. We have big hearts. Our hearts are so big, we're not selfish. They told us 2 million people could die. 2 million people could die. Americans were like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? And so we hunkered down, we self-quarantined, and we said everything else can wait. Well, 2 million people didn't die, and now we need to go back to work. And a lot of places, sadly, won't make it. A lot of places, it's already too late. If you own a restaurant or a bar, I just don't know how you can do the numbers. I used to be in the restaurant game. I don't know how can you serve that many dinners if you can only go at half capacity? That's a completely different problem. But we did our job. We did our patriotic duty. We watched out for our fellow man, and now it's time to get back to work and protect what's ours. That we're a different society. We have rights. You can defend your property. You can defend your property.
We've as we've navigated this show too, this is a PC culture society that's been getting a little less so over the last administration. I think, comedians are starting to be able to be a little more raucous. People, we had that, on the campuses, we had all this safe space. We had all these things going on where people got too sensitive. Well, we're taking this political sensitivity to saying, I'll just use the president, you like Trump, you're bad, you're wrong, you're a bigot, you're a racist. How dare you? You're inferior in your thinking, which is a dialogue that has happened over many events in the United States. Now, where's that dialogue shifted to? You're challenging science. You're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a Trump supporter, you're a Nazi. How dare you send all these people to their death? What kind of person are you? What about my children? I mean, that's the responses I get by saying, hey, I saw this piece of science. Here's another piece of science. Our politicians should take the consensus of their constituencies, and you don't need to say that I'm morally flawed or ignorant, which is happening. There's still this kind of bullying. And you know what? We have to touch upon censorship is following this. They're censoring everything on the web.
My goodness. You had those two doctors in Southern California, and they have all those urgent care centers. They own quite a few urgent care centers. So they're in touch with all the other doctors and all the other healthcare professionals that work at these places. So they had a pretty good sized sliver of anecdotal evidence. They had a few thousand cases that they could go off of. And they're like, well, according to this information, this thing is not a death sentence. It's not even close to a death sentence. And we should reopen LA tomorrow. And instantly, YouTube took it down. Facebook took it down. They're like, wait a minute. Why doesn't that Why doesn't their anecdotal evidence, why doesn't their professional medical opinion count? Because they don't like what they're saying. They don't like what they're saying. And it's terrifying.
It is terrifying. Michael, you know what? Why don't we put it to a vote? Why don't we have a special election? You know, you want to talk about democracy? Seriously, why is that not? So you know what? The science is confusing, but but our mayor and our governor, the Corona Newsom virus, the Garcetti virus, right now they do not want to let go of political control. There's no, oh, let's have a panel. Let's discuss with multiple people what the next right about. Where are the forums of business leaders analyzing the information? Why are they the authority? You know, I don't ever remember Garcetti getting elected on having an MD, nor Newsom,
No, no.
right? No, it's not in the handbook. Oh, pandemic training, fantastic. I'm glad you have a background, you know?
You know who
So,
else isn't a doctor? The guy who's in charge of the World Health Organization. He's not a doctor. It's madness. I don't know why we're listening to these people. We're responsible adults. There's risk. You know how many people get killed in car accidents every year? About 40,000. About 40,000. Yet we all happily get into our cars every morning. It's a risky thing being on planet Earth, and we're doing pretty good. However, people need to reopen their businesses. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I've seen women who own nail salons and hair salons in Texas. They're like, we got shut down. We're gonna put chairs on the sidewalk and cut hair out here. You you can't do it, and they can't act like people who want to open their business are ghouls. We did it. We saved lives. Hooray! Yay! 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 USA.
exactly. And, you know, I just want, as we come to a close tonight, I want to say this is not a political cast tonight. This is not about Michael and I and our beliefs or the other side's beliefs as much. This is about the fact, and we've covered this. American suicide rates in men is been extremely high. Poverty is one of the greatest causes of morbidity. Domestic abuse is up. People who are controlling this for their agenda right now need to reassess and say it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to say, you know what? One of the greatest things I look for in a friendship, in a marriage, in a business relationship is the ability to course correct. Get out of your ego, get out of your fixed position. Most of California is saying, we can see, let's get back to business safely now. And we want to preserve those. I don't want people to lose. You know how long it takes to rebuild a business? You go bankrupt, you have a problem. It takes 7 to 10 years of your life. You don't
Yeah.
just make that money. So you don't get your kids to school in a year passes and everything's okay. We're talking about setting people back 7 years of their life. So I would say we were going to end on a positive note. So some of the good news, I think the good news is, well, we don't know where this guy is. So that's good news. Like the fiercest communistic repressive black hole of media in the world. We don't know who the leader is. Unfortunately, his sister is of the same ilk. So there's, you know, there might be, I don't wish death upon him, but I wouldn't mind a rotation of leadership in Korea. So, you know, we'll see. So much is going on in the world stage, Michael, while coronavirus takes the lead story. Who knows what we're going to be covering in a few months?
There's a lot of things going on in the background. You got to worry about Kim Jong-un. Maybe he's got the Rona. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking
Right.
maybe he's got the Rona. And then unfortunately, you do have people who are playing politics with this, and they're trying to change how states get funded, and they're saying we got to bail out these people and bail out. People have been mismanaging their state's finances for decades, and now they're going to use coronavirus as an excuse to try to bail them out of mismanagement. That's a whole nother fight. Vote by mail is coming up. That's a whole nother fight. That's a whole nother show. Congratulations. We got to come back next week. I want to hear how the drive went. Open LA now and safely.
Yeah, the LA Freedom Drive will also get there. Open LA now and safely. I just wanted a few caveats at the end. This is an individual driving event. We're letting you know about it. They said down there, oh, hey, 2 guys in a car, 2 cars, 5 to a car, a couple guys, great. 25 cars, a gathering. So, you know, hopefully I don't get my first misdemeanor. That would be a bummer. My disclaimer is, you know, manage yourself, manage your life, you know, practice your First Amendment to be associated or not associated with the event, because you as an individual have a right to get on the road and drive. and
Yep.
drive with a sign. So that's up to you folks. So think about your strategy. Come 9:30 in the morning. We're going to be parking between the National and Venice on Sentinel, north or south. It's on the website. I look forward to seeing everybody there. And here, a fitting final slide is we want everybody to get out of the matrix, Michael.
Yeah. Bravo, bravo. I wish I could be there. Bullet points. Peace out.
Peace out. You guys can see Michael and I here weekly at Bullet Points USA on Facebook. You can check our website out, 13reasonswhynottobealiberal.com. Michael's at the Loftus party. Thanks for working late back east, buddy, and we'll see everybody Saturday.